This daf Yerushalmi Shabbos, both in the article and the Vilna, were at the beginning of Masechta, Aleph Amud Aleph, so therefore both start in the same place. A few words of introduction to the Masechta. Hotzah is a deraisa, Torah prohibition, one of the 39 malachos. In order to complete the malach of Hotzah deraisa, in order to be a Torah prohibition, you have to do an akira, uprooting from one domain, hanacha, placing in the other domain, of course, to transfer from domain to domain. And for our purposes, there are two rishuyas deraisa, the two domains which are configured in the Torah prohibition. Rishus hayachid, the private domain signified in this Mishnah by a house, and the Rishus harabim signified in the Mishnah being outside the house, the public domain. In our Mishnah, the Baal Bais is standing, the owner of the house, standing inside the house, and the ani, a poor person, standing outside the house. And one other aspect is that in order to be chayav, we have to do all three aspects: akira, uprooting from one domain, transfer, and hanacha putting in another domain. What if you only did one of those? Either you did the akira and somebody else did the hanacha, or vice versa. So then, in that case, the Mishnah is going to use language of pater. Pater normally means in Masechta Shabbos that it's not a Torah prohibition, it's a rabbinic prohibition. Usually, when somebody's not even prohibited from a rabbinic perspective, we use the term mutter, not pater. There are exceptions to the rule, but that's a general rule. The question is our Mishnah, how to understand our Mishnah. Actually, one other thing, which is there's hotzah and achnasa. They're both under the general category of hotzah, of taking something out from one domain to another domain, but the language of hotzah also can be used to connote going out from inside to outside, and achnasa from outside to inside. And our Mishnah is going to be talking about both types of activity, all types of activity, I should say. So, jumping into the Mishnah, Yitzias Shabbos, the hotzah of rishus to rishus, and including hachnasos, whatever either direction. Two which are four on the inside, for the person standing inside, seems. And two which are four for the person standing outside. Which we're going to discuss. What that means, we're going to discuss when we get to the Gemara. Be'ezetzad. Our article says ke'ezetzad, and the film says be'ezetzad, and the Bible it says ketzad. Well, the same thing. How does this work? The ani is standing outside. He's standing in the Rishus harabim, and Baal Bais and the Baal Bais standing inside in the Rishus hayachid. Pasha ani is yadol ifnin. The ani extends his hand inside. V'nasa toch yodesh Baal Bais and puts something into the hands of the Baal Bais. So he did the akira on the outside, the transfer, and the hanoch on the inside, or vice versa. That Oshanel took something from the hand of Baal Bais, botzi, and he took it outside. He did the akira on the inside the house, the transfer, and the hanocha outside the house. In all those cases, ani chayev, the ani is the one who violated Torah prohibition. The Baal Bais is part of the Baal Bais did not commit a Torah prohibition. Pasha Baal Bais, the question is what he did do. Pasha Baal because he was passive. And the same thing going the other direction. Pasha Baal Bais chutz. Baal Bais extends it outside. Ani puts an object in the hands of the ani. Oshanel B'Torah takes an object from the hands. V'chnis and brings it into the house. Baal Bais chayev. The Baal Bais committed the Torah prohibition. V'ani part and the ani is exempt. Pasha the ani is yodol lifnim. What if the ani extended his hand inside? Another Baal Bais mitocha. And the Baal Bais took from the hand of the ani. So here it's split. The ani did the akira. He put and the transfer, but he didn't do hanocha. The Baal Bais then did the hanocha inside the house. Or vice versa. The Baal Bais did the akira and he put it in the ani's hands. And then the ani did the transfer and the hanocha. Shteim p'tur, and they're both exempt. They didn't do a Torah prohibition. Pasha Baal Bais is yodel lechutz. The same thing with the Baal Bais extended his hands outside. He did the akira and the hotzah. And but the ani did the hanocha. Oshanasa tocha hichnis, or the ani put something in the hands of Baal Bais, and he did. So ani did the akira, and the Baal Bais did the transfer of the hanocha. Shteim p'tur, but they're both potter. Now, in order to understand the Gemara, you have to understand that there's another Mishnah, parallel Mishnah in Shavuos, and the Gemara is cross-referencing these two Mishnahs. The Mishnah in Shavuos, beginning of Shavuos, says Shavuos Shtayim Shein Arba. Yitzias Tumah Shtayim Shein Arba. Yitzias Shabbos Shtayim Shein Arba. Maris Legoyim Shtayim Shein Arba. So Shavuos, the two which are 4, Yedias Tumo, where it has to do with anything to the base of Mikdash when you're Tomei, which we're not going to get into right now, and Yetzias Shabbos, of course, seems to be our Mishnah, and Maras Hagoyim, the types of leprosy. Now, it's important to know in order to understand our Gemara. The Shavuos Sheish Shtayim Shem Arba, they're all Chayiv D'Oraisa. Means there are 2 Shavuos are explicit in Torah, where you take an oath, which turned out to be sheker. It's called Shavuos Bitui. Nefesh Kishabad Devateis Vasayim L'Ra L'Eitiv, and you take a Shavuot. I'm going to eat something, and you don't eat it, or Shavuot, I'm not going to eat something, and you do eat it. And those are 2 Shavuos in the future, which are if you violate our prohibition. Therefore, because we also learn out Shavuos on the past, I ate or I didn't eat, and you lied in that Shavuot. Those are also D'Oraisa. So, the question is where it says there, does that mean 2 which are 4 and they're all Chayiv, or 2 which are 4, which seems to indicate in our Mishnah, there are 2, some are which are Chayiv, some which are Potter, right? Because our Mishnah, we enumerate cases which each person is Chayiv, in cases which each person is Potter. So then Meshuas, to about cases where everyone is okay, or Chiyuv, or are they some Chayiv, some Potter? That's the Gemara's question, and the Gemara really is focused on Shavuos, not on Shabbos. I ask this question as we shall begin. Ma'u Shtayim Shem Arba. But it says 2 which are 4 in Masechah Shavuos. Is it Shtayim L'Chiyuv, Shtayim L'Ptur? Is it 2 which are Chayev, which are when one person does the entire Malacha, and 2 which are Potter, one person does half the Malacha, which seems to be what it means in our Mishnah, which are some of them are the 2 which are Chayev and 2 which are Potter. Or in that Mishnah, Arba L'Chiyuv. In that Mishnah are all 4 Chiyuvim, just like the case of the Shavuos. And the words Arba L'Ptur here are a little bit difficult. Be better if we could take them out. But what it means to say, there are additional 4 which are Potter, but they're not mentioned in the Mishnah. Okay? So Gemara says, Nishmin Minada. Let's have from here, from the crossover between the Mishnah and Shavuos, in of itself, Shavuos Shtayim Shem Arba. So, Shavuos Shtayim Shem Arba, they're all Chiyuv, right? So, Amr Abba said no. Tamakul Chiyuv. Yes, it's true. There in Shavuos, it's all a Chiyuv. Right. But Baram Hacha, but here, in Shabbos, Chiyuv B'Torah Sina Misneh. It's Chayiv and Potter. Obviously, our Mishnah has to be different than Mishnah Shavuos because it's clear our Mishnah, which is extended and elaborated, is being now Shtayim Chiyuv, Shtayim B'Torah. Adam Marah, this teaches us that over there in Shavuos, Arba Chiyuv, Arba B'Torah, but our Mishnah is different, right? Rabbi Yosef said, no, actually, it could be the Mishnah in Shabbos is also all about Chiyuvim. Because let's cross-reference the Mishnah in Shavuos, where it's definitely all Chiyuvim, and learn out to our Mishnah. And when it says Shtayim Shein Arba, in our Mishnah, Shtayim She'ar V'nim, Shtayim She'ar Arba Chutz, it means that they're all Chiyuvim. 2 Chiyuvim for the person inside, Hotzah and Achnasa, and 2 Chiyuvim person inside, Hotzah and Achnasa. But whatever. 2 for the inside, 2 for the outside. Each one, Shtayim, 2 person inside, person outside. And each one has 2 chiyuvim, which are Hotzah and Hachnasa. So in any event, he's trying to say that even our Mishnah, when it says Shtayim Shemar Avnim, Shtayim Shar B'Chutz, that also could be Kul Chiyuv, not just the Mishnah Shavuos. Here could also be entirely the Chiyuv. So that's saying that, and even though they're long extension afterwards, but that's an elaboration separate than the first statement of the Mishnah. So I'm asking, Amr Kain, the Mishnah Shavuos tells us that everything is Chiyuv. Shtayim Shem Arba Lo Chiyuv, Kavasoy. It's a Shabbos, Shtayim Shem Arba Chiyuv. It's a Shabbos, Shtayim Shem Arba, not just the Mishnah Shavuos, where that language appears and it must all be Chiyuv. Even our Mishnah, Masechah Shabbos, all of it is the chiyuv. So says Gemara, wait a minute. There's a brisa parallel to Mishnah and Shavuos, which Vatani, and that brisa says, the doors into the Heichal, there were double doors. They used to bend back on themselves. So they were, each time was 5 amos, which then bent back into 2.5 amos. So that's the case. Shtaim Shem Arba, some member lo chiv lo p'tur. Okay, it's really like, is it same saying? Is a chiv p'tur? In other words, is chiv p'tur relevant there? Obviously not. And therefore, if also Seicha mentioned, which 2 which are 4, so 2 which are 4 doesn't necessarily mean all chayiv. Some cases means chayiv, some cases means perhaps 2 chayiv and potter. Some cases means perhaps nothing to do with chiv and p'tur. So therefore, the fact it says there by Shabbos that Shtaim Shem Arba in a Mishnah which talks about Shvu Shtaim Shem Arba, it could be it's like Dalsa Seicha, which is mentioned in Brisa, which is altogether different 2, which is 4, which has nothing to do with chiv and p'tur. The girsa is changed by some of them achronim. It's ismeimar chiyuv olip p'tur. Can you say chiyuv or p'tur by tlosa zeichel? It's not relevant, obviously. So therefore, it's chiyuv. So same idea. Just take out the low, change it to something to o. But the same principle. So now the Gemara is either going back to Rabbi Ba, who said there are whole, or there's the 2 which are 4 here are Chiyuv and P'tur, or even Rabbi Yossi is going on the Sefer the Mishnah, where obviously we're mentioning Chiyuv and P'tur, and even the Reisha might be talking about completely about Chayav, but the Sefer obviously then brings down examples of the case we have Potter. So, but Nisnei Shtemos have Potter. Let's mention 12 P'turim. In other words, it's easy to go to Rabbi Ba. It says they're 8, but they're really 12 because the 8 is talking about where you have one person doing the Otzah and the Achnasa, and the case of in both directions, obviously, and another case, the other case where one person's doing the Otzah, one is doing the Akira, person doing both Akira and Nacha. And the other case is a case where one person doing that care and the other person doing that nocha. And altogether there are 4 cases which are one person doing all of it in 2 directions, 2 people, 4. And then another 4 cases where each person is doing part of it. One person doing care, one doing nocha, 2 people, 2 directions, altogether for 4 other cases. And that makes 8. But what about cases where one person is completely passive? Those are also in our Mishnah, so that should really be 12. So why are they not mentioned in the number of 2 which are 4? Which 2 which are 4, 2 which are 4, which means is basically the same as 4 which are 8. What about the other 4 cases? One person is completely passive. Why are they included in the count as well? So again, even one like Rabbi Yossi, the Mishnah is Kul Chiyuv, so then still there's implicit number here. In any event, the Gemara answers, we're only saying a p'tur which is opposite a chiyuv. In other words, where we're only mentioning a case where the p'tur was involved, but he's not chayiv. But not somebody who's chayiv mishum sayeh. Not somebody who just assisted. Even though he should not have assisted, he should not have even stood there passively. Nevertheless, and there might be some prohibition involved, but we're only talking about Potter. He's where he could have been chayiv because he did participate, but he didn't do a full malacha, and therefore he's Potter. So lo asinan Potter, let's even say Potter shukeneged chiyuv, which is as opposed to chiyuv because he participated but not completely. Amar Chiyah said, "Mine, I will Potter with the tin where it says that he's Potter in the case where he's passive." No, this case, even though it's normally not the case in Masechah Shabbos, in our Mishnah, it's mutter because they're not doing anything whatsoever. Maybe it's Masayder of Aver. Our mission is not talking about Masayder of Aver. Could be a separate issue, but our mission is talking about Shabbos. In terms of Shabbos, is mutter. This is not in the Bavli. And in terms of Shabbos, it's completely mutter. Therefore, we're only mentioning the cases where the ptur is patur aval asur, where you're doing part of malacha, even though you didn't do full malacha, not where it's completely mutter because you didn't do any part of malacha whatsoever. Okay, that brings us to the bottom of the base in the article. We'll stop here for today.